So this morning I'm working on this little octopus doodle, and I have this finished one over here also to use as an example. So basically I start by sketching it out lightly in pencil, and then I took a ballpoint pen and went over all my pencil lines. And then the next step is going to be that I'm going to color it in. But what I wanted to show you really quickly are two things. So first of all, in the sketch I'm working on, you can see there are some spots right here on the octopus, and there's a circle behind it. So I have those sketched in pencil because I don't want them to have a hard ink line. So that's sort of like a guide for me when I'm coloring to say, hey, don't fill this in because we're going to leave those spots there. But the other thing I wanted to mention is that on this finished piece, you can see that there's a lot of color variation. There's lights and shadows. So the whole point of that is basically that when I'm working on this, it's very much a layering process. So in other words, I don't color it once and say, okay, I'm done, it's colored in. It's very much building up the color and working on it continuously. And then if I need to go back in with the pen and make a line thicker or redefine something, I can do that. So basically getting this ink sketch done is almost sort of the starting point in a way for the rest of the drawing. And I also have over here just some blank paper, and this is for sketching out, you know, the marker colors to make sure that the marker that I have and that I'm going to use is the right color for what I'm working on, right? So I can test everything. I don't put it on the drawing and say, oh, whoops, that was the wrong color, right? That would not be good. So I'm going to start out with the brush end, right? And I'm just really carefully going to start coloring this in. And again, I've said this in a lot of videos before that these should technically be used on marker paper and not on sketchbook paper because it soaks up the ink and the color tends to bleed on this paper. But I'm also a big proponent of there's not a right way to do it. Right? Whatever you want to do is the right answer. So, I use it in my sketchbook. Right? So I'm just really carefully coloring these in. And again, this is just the first layer of color. I'm going to go back over this multiple times, both with this marker and with a darker color to build up those layers and give it a little bit of dimension. So let me get this tentacle colored in. Okay, so as an example, let's use this piece right here. Okay, so if our light source is sort of in front of the octopus, this is going to be a little bit darker. So what I can do with these markers that's really nice is that I can keep coloring over the same section and it's going to get darker. I don't know if that translates really well in the video, but you can already tell that this section is darker, and that's good. That's what I want to have happen. All right, so I'm just going to keep coloring these sections in. And I'm going to leave these little, I don't know the technical name for the suckers on the bottom of the tentacle, but I want those to be pink, so I'm not going to color that part in. And basically the whole point of this short little video is just to explain the idea of building up the colors in what you're working on, right? So in other words, I'm not just going to color this once with the marker and call it a day. I'm going to be coloring this for it's probably going to be the longest and most involved part of the sketch. And that's kind of the fun of it, too, is to build up those shadows and highlights that are really going to make it look really good. Right, so I'm just going to keep working like that, basically until I'm happy with it. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me. And also, you can see more on my website, virginiapoltrack.com. Thanks.